So, moving on over into the hockey world, but not the NHL, we're going to talk about the PWHL adding two new expansion teams heading into, I believe, their next season here in PWHL Seattle and PWHL Vancouver. Two teams on the West Coast, very far away from everyone else, who is very close to the Eastern Coast, I believe. I think the most. Oh gosh, this is really going to show
Minnesota.
my ass.
Minnesota
I was
is
going to say
the
this is going to show.
westernmost
This
current
is going
team.
to
I
show
got
my
you.
ass in American geography, but but yeah, no, I was going to say Minnesota, so I would have been right. Thank God. I don't need Americans yelling at me. I'm sorry. When we become the 51st state, I'll learn. All right. Oh, jeez. Well, whatever. Anyway, the PWHL adding two new teams, which is cool to see. Adding two teams on the West, because that was kind of a criticism to be had of the league. It was very Eastern-centric. There wasn't really a lot for us Western hockey fans to really look at for the teams. And obviously, they just over the last year here, they did a, I forget the name of the tour, but they did
A takeover tour.
That's what it was. The takeover tour across multiple teams, or multiple cities, excuse me, including Edmonton, I believe was one of them. Obviously, Vancouver, Seattle. I'm blanking on a bunch of other places they went. But they went to a ton of different cities. Obviously, testing the water, testing the markets. And what they decided on was just about the most obvious option, I think, at least to me, which was going with Seattle and Vancouver. Introducing two teams which immediately will be rivals with each other. They're obviously not too far apart. And it's going to be good. I think it's definitely going to... It's showing that they plan on adding more teams in the future as well, because I think it's safe to assume that at some point they're going to want to have more than two teams in the West. So I like it a ton. I think it's a really smart move by the PWHL, while these two Western teams at the beginning here are going to be very far away from the rest of the action. I think that it is the right move. It is the necessary move. They did need to put somebody far away to start. And putting two teams next to each other far away is definitely not a bad way to go about it.
Yeah, it's a good thing that they're doing them in tandem with each other, because otherwise I think it would have been really shitty. I mean, Vancouver was the first one announced. If Vancouver has to travel all the way to the East Coast anytime they have an away game, like, that would have been pretty crappy. But at least there's another team out on the West Coast now. And I think the natural kind of rivalry there will be great with them coming in at the same time. It's really exciting, especially, like, I mean, you hear about Vancouver. I didn't hear about Seattle until later in the process, about that even being a kind of rumor. But I'm really glad that they did both. It's super exciting for the growth of the league to be able to facilitate two extra teams 2 years into this thing.
Oh yeah,
a big
very
thing.
Impressive.
It shows how the PWHL is different from a lot of the other women's leagues that have tried to kind of come from the ground up, where it's not getting the same amount of publicity and just not being able to sustain itself, and there not being one kind of definitive option for women's hockey across North America. But now they're really solidifying themselves with this, with the success that they've had over the first two seasons, with the crowds they drew and stuff like the Takeover Tour, and now with that coming to fruition with these two teams. It's really exciting to see. And I think it's just going to continue to grow more popular as you grow new teams, as they come into new markets. And I mean, it's anecdotal, but I mean, I commute to my job in North Vancouver every day, and when the Takeover Tour was here, first I was pissed that I forgot about it and didn't get tickets to it, because I'm walking back and I see people and I'm like, oh shit, that was today. I totally, had intentions of going, and it just kind of slipped my mind, but now I'll have the chance. But walking back, I mean, even with Canucks games, like, you'll see people, but I was just kind of taken aback by the amount of people that were decked out in PWHL gear when I was just on my commute back home. All across downtown, people in, like, Montreal jerseys was the big one that I saw, just like kind of all over the place. And I thought, like, that's so cool that you're able to see kind of this groundswell for a league like this, a league that doesn't even have a team here yet. And now that it does, it'll be super exciting to see how that kind of continue to grow, because I think there's a huge audience for it, as there should be, and it'll be super exciting. I know I'm gonna want to get out to a couple of games. I think it's awesome. I have another comment, but I'll pass it back to you because it's kind of a different topic. So
I I just think it's really great. Like you pointed out, I think it's super impressive that they're already expanding this early into the league. I know that I kind of assumed that they'd rock with the 6 teams for at least for a while, but I don't think that they were expecting to be as successful as they were in the beginning here, because what they have done is completely unprecedented for just about any women's league, I feel like, in North America. Like the start that they found in the last few years here. And it's absolutely deserving as well, because what it's shown is that there is a massive market available for women's hockey. There is so much talent out there. And it's really cool finally getting to see there be a platform for that. I totally think that the PWHL is here to stay. It's going to be here for a long time. And they're going to, just like how it only took 2 years to get to 8 teams from 6, I think it's pretty safe to say that, heck, another 2 years down the road, I'm sure we're going to see them maybe move to 10. Maybe they'll be 12. Like, I think they're just going to keep getting bigger as they add more teams. And I think it's super exciting. I think whenever we see a league like this moving to bigger markets and moving and spreading themselves across like this, it's really cool to see. So I'm excited to see it for sure. I'm really curious to see how their expansion drafts are going to work and stuff like that. We've seen in the past how a lot of the PWHL's rules, they have not been afraid to differentiate themselves from other professional hockey leagues, which has been another really cool thing about the PWHL. They have they're not afraid to do things differently, and I think that's a big reason why they're succeeding. So I'm really curious to see how all that's going to work. I think there's a lot of questions going into next year, obviously with 2 new teams. I'm excited for it. That's my big takeaway. I think it's super cool.
Yeah. Now, to get into the more the specifics of it, with where these teams are playing, the one, if I am to have a concern at all in all of this, at least for Vancouver, I was kind of disappointed that they weren't playing in Rogers, where the Canucks play.
I did hear that. Yeah.
They'll play in the Pacific Coliseum, which is where the Canucks played before they went to Rogers. Yeah. It's where like the Vancouver Giants, the WHL team, plays. I think it'll be fine, but it's just
Do you know how big it is?
I don't know, but I can find that. The one thing that I'm kind of, it's just not a great location. So if you know Vancouver. I have a concert that I'm going to there in like a week, and getting there is going to be a bit of a pain, at least from where I am. With downtown, all the transit lines kind of leading to downtown, it's a lot more accessible. With the Pacific Coliseum, it's kind of just like, it's in a bit of a weird spot, especially due to its proximity to the downtown east side. So it's not in a bit of a sketchy area, but it's like right next to one of the sketchiest areas in not just Vancouver, but in probably North America in terms of a lot of the rampant drug use and homelessness that goes on there. And that's kind of like an impediment, I think. With Rogers, it's very easy. You take the SkyTrain, you're right there. It's a little bit harder to get to. Capacity 17,000, so that's not as much of an issue.
I saw 15,700, but I either way they'd be fine.
Yeah, capacity will be fine. It's just location. I'm just kind of like, it'll be fine. Like obviously the Canucks played there before, and they still have hockey there, and I'm sure they still get decent turnout. I'm just kind of like, it could be better. I would have preferred if it was a location that was a little bit more accessible. But, maybe I'm Ubyssey centric because that's where I am. And people who are more on the east side of the city are going to be like, great, closer to me. Like, who knows? But it is kind of just a shame that it's not like Seattle where they're playing in Climate Pledge. Like, it's very much on the same bar as the NHL team. We'll get there, I'm sure. I'm sure we'll get there because I think these leagues are just going to continue to grow. But that was one thing that stood out to me at the beginning to just say, that's interesting. I don't love it because of where I am, and it's too bad that they're not playing in the same arena as the Canucks. But
yeah, I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. I know location sucks and all that, but like, if it would be different if we were talking about, because some of those WHL barns are like, I don't even know, 5,000 seats, 8,000 seats, right? Like in that range. If it was in that range, I'd be a lot more concerned because I feel like you're shooting yourself in the kneecap. I feel like with a big market like Vancouver, you have to allow the chance, even if you don't think that you won't immediately get those crowds. You have to allow the chance to get those crowds, right? And I think that's the nice thing, because you're at Climate Pledge playing in the big rink there. I feel like Seattle is going to have the chance to really fill up that barn, and so will Vancouver with however big the rink is, somewhere between 15,000 and 17,000, right? Like, whatever it is, they'll have plenty of chances to fill it, which is good. I think as long as they're not playing in something super small like that, I think that'd be my only concern, truthfully. I think as long as they have a rink to play in that can fill a large amount of people, they'll be fine.
Yeah. No, I'm not worried capacity wise, and maybe it's just my own perception, because
I've never been
the commute
so...
sucks for me. The commute sucks for me. I mean,
I'll trust you. I'll take your word.
What can I say? But
I've been to Vancouver
people,
twice.
I mean, yeah. For people on the other side of the city, maybe it's good because it's a little bit more accessible than the Canucks for them. But who knows? Again, it's a very
maybe
personalized complaint. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Who knows what the eventual reason was? It's disappointing for me, and I think it's maybe not the best initially, but I'm sure they'll grow into Rogers eventually. I'm sure they'll still draw big crowds to the Coliseum. It'll be interesting. So they're gonna get started next season, which is a kind of crazy quick turnaround.
Well, you have to think that they've had this plan for a while, or at least you have to hope.
Yes. But even like thinking about like the Vegas and Seattle expansions in the NHL, those were announced years before they came.
I think the PWHL just does things quicker. I think that's kind of the idea. Is they're trying.
It might be that they don't have as much time to dilly dally, I guess, because it's the start. The one question, I think we brought this up before the podcast, so I won't. I'll bring it up here as well. In terms of the jerseys, whether we think we're going to be getting any, or whether it's going to be like what they did for the first year, and you were saying probably not.
I already gave I gave you my opinion on this. I still have these pulled up, so I'll throw them on the screen again. But I don't think we would have gotten these logos, honestly, if they were planning on releasing team names and all that in the first year. I think that they saw what they saw last year. Or not last year, excuse me. In their first season without team names, I think they saw that was fine. I mean, there were complaints, sure, but at the end of the day, it worked out, right? So I think their logic is, let's not rush into this. Let's take it slow. Let's bring the teams onto the ice as quick as possible. Let's get 8 teams on the ice next year. We'll worry about all the other stuff afterwards. I think that's kind of the logic here. And honestly, I do think that that's not a bad way to do it. It's not unprecedented, obviously, because they've done it in the past. It's a very it's what they did, right, in their first season. So it's, in that sense, I think it makes sense. I don't know. I hope we get jerseys and logos. That'd be really cool. But I'm not expecting it.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing where I'm okay if they don't, and I understand. But I would really like it. I mean, if it's something they have been planning for a while, because I mean, with the original 6 teams, the comment was they just prioritized getting on the ice quicker than having everything ready, and that worked out for them. They took their time with the jerseys. We did a segment on it when they got released. They look great. We had very little complaints about like most of the jerseys, other than Ottawa. Yeah. But so if that happens again, where it's like, okay, we're prioritizing getting these teams out on the ice, and the jerseys will come later. Okay, like, don't rush it. But it would be really nice. I think with the PWHL, even though I understood it, it was still a gripe of mine when they came out to say, like,
for sure,
it's a lot harder to attach yourself as a fan to a team that doesn't have a name.
Yes.
I think it'll be also strange when now it's not all or nothing. It'll be weird because it'll be like, you know,
then again, we saw that in the NHL.
Minnesota. Yeah, I guess there was more of a. There's still more of a brand to it than just like the PWHL Vancouver.
Was there?
Maybe not. I don't know.
I'd argue there was less, but I don't know. I feel like they threw that together in Photoshop over 2 weeks and threw the team on ice.
I mean, potentially. I mean, we got Washington football team for like 3 years, so maybe should
I
stop
don't
complaining,
think it's a big deal. I actually think it helps the fact that they already have 6 teams with names and logos, because I feel like I mean, Seattle and Vancouver. I actually think that if, in a sense, because I agree with you completely. It was a gripe I had. I wished that they had logos and names in their first season. I do, but I think this time around, I like it a lot more. I like the move a lot more for sure, because I just think that honestly. I think that getting more teams on the ice is the best thing that you can do, for sure.
Yeah.
Because
again, if they are prioritizing that, it makes sense. But hopefully, my hope, I think, is that because they've probably been planning this out for a while, that maybe they have something back. I do disagree with you.
I hope so too.
I do disagree with your take about like they wouldn't have just released these logos if they had something ready. Like, I think. Why would you release both of them at once when you can make multiple headlines across the offseason? You can make a headline for announcing the expansion team. You can make a headline for announcing the jersey and the logo. You know, like that's just like a marketing thing. So I still hold out hope. Maybe it's blind hope, but
I hope you're right.
I think that's
I want to be wrong, but I don't know. I do think that. If the other option was to not put them on the ice this year and wait to put them on next year with logos and names, I prefer this. That's more my take.
Yeah.
So I think it's just important that because obviously the nice thing is more teams means more roster spots, more opportunities, more talent across the league, and that's the best part about this, right? So I don't know. I'm a big fan of it just across the board. I think adding 2 teams is really smart as well. I think if they added just one in the West, like if they just brought in Seattle, for example,
it would have been strange.
It would have been strange, and that Seattle team would have like the worst travel ever. They're still gonna, but it's gonna be slightly less bad in the sense that they do have one other team near them.
Yeah, it'll be a good rivalry, right? Like, that's another thing that's hard. That's one thing that's so hard in all these new leagues that pop up. You see it in like football, where it's like. All these spring leagues that pop up. What am I gonna care about like the Birmingham Stallions against the fucking like Memphis Showboats? Like I don't care. But it's a lot easier to kind of build rivalries when there is that geographical connection when they're coming into the league at the same time, and you can kind of build it up over time. It's a little bit of it's still hard because you're starting with something from scratch, so those rivalries need those moments to build. Like they need to get on the ice and play each other. But it's a little bit of a stoking the flames a little bit, which I like.
I think the best possible thing they could do is make Vancouver and Seattle play each other a ton in that first year.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Yeah, exactly.
That's sure they will. I mean, there's only what 8 teams now, so everybody's going to play each other a bunch. But I'm sure that'll be a priority.
Yep. No, I totally agree. I think it'll be pretty cool to watch for sure. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see who they add next because I think Vancouver and Seattle were the obvious picks, but now you go down to the next couple. Is Edmonton going to get a team now? They seem to be the other option that people were talking about. Who knows? Yeah,
so I'll list out the other takeover tour cities because I think that's a good
idea. Yeah.
Bar for where they might be thinking of going. So Edmonton, yes, is another one. They went to Buffalo.
Right. Yeah.
That's a little, I mean, closer to. It's again. I don't know how much I want another East Coast team.
I don't know how much I want another U.S. team. Let's put another team in Canada, baby. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Put a team near me.
Yeah.
Selfish.
They have one in Raleigh, North Carolina. So, Hurricanes territory.
Right.
Detroit, St. Louis, Denver, and then Quebec City. So those are the... Quebec City, I think, might be the play.
Yeah.
That'd
be really
with that, all these
there
all these
is
other
a
places,
big vacuum there. There is an opportunity.
Because that's what, again, like I think back to, it's not quite the same, but I keep thinking back to like these spring football leagues and kind of trying to learn from their successes and failures. One of the teams, I don't know how well they're doing now. I haven't paid attention to spring football in a little while, but I remember when all these leagues were starting, the team that did really well in like the XFL or whatever was St. Louis.
Yeah.
Because they got gypped by the Rams. they just used the Rams' old stadium, and they drew huge crowds in comparison to what all the other teams are doing. Because, like you said, there's a vacuum there, right? I think there'll be a similar thing in Quebec. You have whatever, like the Videotron Center or whatever that has an NHL like sized arena that they could use. Like,
right.
Yeah, that's the obvious. Again, it sucks it's another East Coast team, but I think that's the obvious place for the next one. I'd say it's between them and Edmonton.
Yeah, that's the hope, right? Like I think that
Edmonton, just because of West Coast, you try to balance it. That's my thought. Maybe Denver. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you're trying to go southern in the U.S., move down, kind of do an arc. I don't know. Could add both.
Yeah.
I think you have to add 2 West teams. That's what I'd do, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'll pulling up the attendance. I think is another one because it's like where was the most.
I thought Edmonton
game?
did really well, but I know that Vancouver and Seattle were the top ones.
So they weren't actually.
Whoa, really? That's surprising.
Or is that just in the U.S.? Oh no. Okay, here we go. No, Vancouver. Okay, no, Vancouver was number 1. Vancouver was number 1. Okay, so no, this aligns with what we were saying. Vancouver number 1, Quebec City number 2, Edmonton number 3. So there we go.
Whoa, Seattle.
So
Seattle was 4, or were they lower?
Seattle, nope.
Wow.
4th was Detroit with 14,000. Then Denver with also 14,000.
Huh.
Then we get to Seattle.
Okay, that really changes things for me because I thought they were doing that takeover series to try and decide where they might want to go. That makes me think that they thought that Seattle was going to be really good, and they've been planning this for a while. So maybe you're right. Maybe they will have jerseys. I think that actually makes me side with you a little bit more. That makes me feel like they've been thinking about this for a bit.
Hopefully. Again, 12 almost 13,000 still a pretty good crowd, but that Vancouver 19,000 is pretty wild, and that Quebec City getting close to it too. The other 2, Buffalo and St. Louis, are kind of those are the 2 cities where I'm looking at and saying maybe not anytime soon. Didn't crack 10,000. It's kind of on the lower end.
Yeah.
Raleigh at 10,700. So yeah, I think those top few are your contenders. It'll be interesting to see if that happens and how soon after these Vancouver and Seattle teams.
I agree with you on Edmonton. I think Quebec City would be really cool, but I don't like that they're on the East. I think that Edmonton and Denver would be good. I like those picks.
Yeah, that could also just be because we're both from the West. So.
No. Disagree. No, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't want a team 3 hours from me. No. What? Do you think I'm biased? Fuck you. No. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm so down for an Edmonton Quebec City pairing. I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad about that. As long as we get one more West team. As long as I don't have to fly to the closest PWHL team, I'll be happy.
Yeah. I mean, Calgary, Vancouver flights aren't that bad. I would know.
That's fair. Fair. But the drive to Vancouver is a solid, fucking.
Don't fucking drive. Don't drive. Don't drive to Vancouver.
Every time I've been to Vancouver, I've driven. So.
Yeah, that's a mistake.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
Get there and you're miserable. It's
yeah. Oh yeah.
No. You fly, you knock out for 30 minutes, and then you're there. It's great.
It's a garbage drive.
Yeah, it's sketchy through the mountains too. Go through the Rogers Pass and grip the steering wheel for your life. Oh, there's worse, but it's not it's not like you're driving through Saskatchewan and you're just prairies all the way.
True. It's funny. I do the drive to Kelowna all the time, and honestly, the worst parts of that drive to Vancouver are in the drive to Kelowna.
Yes, they are. They are, because once you get through the mountains, it's fine, more or less. Yeah. As
long as things aren't on fire.
Yeah, that happens more than you'd think.
Oh, I know.
For anyone who doesn't know. Yeah. No, I know you know. Yeah. For anybody out there.
No.
50-50 chance. You drive through, that something's on fire.
Yeah.
I saw. Last time I drove through, we saw forest fire in the distance. It happens.
Oh, yeah. No, you. It happens. It happens a lot. That's for sure.
Yeah. Let's hope this PWHL expansion isn't a forest fire.
Let's hope they start on fire, but not.
Yeah, that was much better. I didn't land that one, but you took it. You
There
took
you
it,
go.
and there we go.
There you go. Teamwork. We got there.
Quality content. This is what
Making
you come to
light
Twitch
of a
for.
very big problem. Let's go.